Boom! Hey guys, we are Sean and Kristy. This is Long Long Honeymoon. Welcome to yet another one of our notorious rambling live chats where we hang out with you guys and field questions and hopefully provide somewhat helpful answers.
Yeah, or just hang out with you guys and chat and, see what's going on in your neck of the world.
We hope everyone is enjoying this lovely Sunday evening. It's been a hot and steamy one where we are.
Can you guys hear us okay? Or are you seeing us and hearing us okay?
Yeah.
Somebody just give us a little...
Hey to Kip in San Antonio.
Hi, Kip. My brother's name is Kip, by the way.
Joe Van says Michigan in the house.
Oh, Douglas Hart. Thanks for the tip.
Yep.
We appreciate that. That's so
Thank
nice.
you, Douglas. Got a nice Airstream in front of some mountains there.
Great
We appreciate
picture.
it very much, fellow Airstreamer. Jim Pratt is standing by for deployment.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, as always, Jim. Jim shows up. I had not communicated with Jim, so I want to doubly thank Jim.
Yeah, Jim is nice to deal with our flying by the seat of our pants.
He shows up
schedule.
And stomps out trolls.
Yes.
So hopefully we won't.
He helps keep it clean around here. We appreciate Jim so much for volunteering to do that.
Hopefully Jim will have an easy night.
Yes.
I don't think we have too many trolls out there.
Oh, we got some folks
Hello,
in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Oh.
Tull in Alabama. So you know what we're talking about with regards to heat.
Yes.
Link says hello from Antarctica.
Wow.
Really?
Really?
Is that legit?
I'm impressed. If you're really there, that's,
I think that's really the first shout out we've ever had from Antarctica. So that's pretty awesome. Keith Price says, hey, from Austin. We love Austin, Texas.
Yes. Need some
Always
Salt
lots
Lake
of fun.
barbecue.
Yeah, we love the barbecue mainly. But let's see. Raymond says, hey, from Massachusetts.
Oh, we got some people from New Mexico and more Texas folks.
Joshua.
Michigan again.
Scott is parked in the home driveway after camping in Poconos.
Oh, nice.
We've not really been to that area of Pennsylvania. I mean, we've been through Pennsylvania a couple of times.
We sort of did like Pennsylvania, like Amish country, and we've done like Hershey Park, where I rode a ride that literally made my life flash before my eyes. Not because it was a scary ride. It was just, it was about to fall apart.
You talking about our truck or our Airstream?
No, not that. I mean, that's happened at times.
That's
with
the
our
usual.
Truck and Airstream,
Yeah, that's the norm. Let's see. This is an interesting question. It's very timely from S.J. Greenberg. Says, are you still happy with how many lithium-ion batteries you got? He says battles, but I think he meant
like
battery.
Battle-born batteries?
Yeah, that's a good point. We have 4 battle-born lithium-ion batteries, and we've gotten a chance to sort of test out our solar system in the real world. Overall, yes, we've been very happy with those batteries.
Yeah.
We have approximately 8 times as much battery power. I don't know. I'm getting confused when I'm doing math. It's probably not good. We have so much more battery power.
Yeah.
And we've been loving the solar system. We did do something this past week with Ronnie at Airstream Nuts and Bolts. We installed 2 additional solar panels.
Yeah. And it was something that we talked about when we initially did it. And he wired it so if we wanted more panels, all he had to do was basically stick them on and plug them in.
Right.
So it was pretty
easy. They're the
easy.
Same panels, those Renogy 100 watt panels. And that is basically giving us more electricity going to those batteries.
Yeah.
So, but I think the thing with those lithium ion batteries, truthfully, you can never probably have too much capacity because especially if you want to get into the game of running your air conditioner off of solar.
Yeah.
Because you can never have too much battery. I mean, I'm sure I haven't seen a teardown of a Tesla, but it's probably like half battery, I would think, So, but yeah, we've been enjoying it and learning as we go. Let's see. Carolyn says Gettysburg is a must, and we love the Hershey store. Yeah, we have been to both of those places.
Yes.
Gettysburg is amazing.
I would like to actually spend more time there. We didn't have a huge block of time when we were there. We were sort of traveling that day, but we did stop and walk around. And
Hershey is always
Hershey's always fun.
No, we went to that theme park there too.
Yeah,
Hershey,
the park. That's where Hershey I said
Park.
I had the ride. My life flashed before my eyes.
Yeah.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, I developed a limp after one of those roller coasters.
One of those roller coasters, I'm not kidding. If you didn't have whiplash before you got on, you had it when you got off because it was like the jerkiest ride I think I've ever been on. Something like that.
It was called the Wildcat.
Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah. Sponsored by the local chiropractor.
Yeah, for real.
Let's see. Amy asks a good question. Says, my parents are huge fans, Raymond and Carrie Russell.
Hi Amy, and hi to Raymond and Carrie.
Says, their dream is to buy an Airstream. It haunts me every day. What advice do you have for their terrified daughter? Well,
why are you terrified?
Yeah, I guess the question is, why are you terrified?
Yeah.
Are you terrified of going Airstreaming, or are you terrified of your parents going Airstreaming? How old are you, Amy? Are you a teenager who doesn't want to be seen in public with their parents? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we need a little more information maybe before we can answer that question. I don't think you should be terrified at all. I think you should look at it as a great opportunity to tag along with your mom and dad for a trip every now and then and see some cool places.
Yeah, I think that would be our advice to their terrified daughter. Don't worry. Just make sure that they're well educated on what they're getting into. I mean, their books and there are videos out there you can watch about that topic. Joseph asks, is the hydraulic jack still working good? Yes, I can report that after 2 weeks, we have not had a jack failure.
Oh, dear Lord. Please tell me.
Now, like when I go to do the jack, I'm just like, this thing better work. That's all I can say. It better work. But, I'm confident that it's going to work and it will outlive those electric jacks. I think we just had a bad run of luck with electric.
Yeah, but we've talked to other people that have sort of had the same issue, so it made me feel a little bit better.
Let's see. Joyce and Ken say hello from Booth Bay Harbor, Maine.
Maine
we love
is
Maine.
So beautiful.
I bet Maine feels pretty good right
now.
I
bet it's really comfortable there right now.
John Stump says no camping in Glacier till the end of summer. We're talking about Glacier National Park.
Within the park?
Yeah, for those of you interested in going to Glacier National Park in Montana, we've heard that going to the Sun Road is closed at one entrance, right?
So the east entrance to the park is closed because it's on, I think, Indian reservation land, technically. And the Indian reservation chose to close to outside visitors because of COVID-19. So going to the Sun Road is only one way right now. So that would be a traffic jam for sure.
So what, Denise asked a very good question. Thank you for the tip, by the way. Denise. She says, have you used a WeBoost? We're looking for a way to improve our connectivity. We actually have a video on that very topic coming soon. We have used a WeBoost, and we also have something called a Sure Call. And we had the Sure Call permanently installed on our trailer this past week. So, we're getting up to speed on having some real world experience using it, but we'll probably do a video about that very soon. My understanding is that WeBoost and Sure Call are both very similar. I mean, frankly, they're kind of doing the same thing, and that they will not work miracles. But if you are in an area with very weak cellular coverage, they can be a lifesaver.
They might give you an extra bar, maybe two, if you're lucky.
I mean, you're not going to go from like no internet to streaming high definition video, but you could go from, very weak internet to being able to probably do some web surfing and watch some videos. Yeah. So I think they help. So we will be doing a video about that pretty soon. William says Yosemite was beautiful 3 weeks ago.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad that you got to go.
Part of our travel plans, this sort of is a nice segue, is we're setting our compass towards California. I think toward Northern California. If they'll let us in the States, which, we don't know yet. But we're hoping to hit some of those national parks in California that we have not yet visited. Yeah,
we've done Yosemite before, and I
loved it.
I would love to go back, but I think right now it's probably a little busy, and don't you have to have a reservation to get into the park? Am I correct in that? I'm not 100% sure, but you could tell me because you were there. But we want to go to Kings and Sequoia National Park, and also. Tell me if I'm getting this name right. There's another national park north of Sacramento called Lassen Volcanic National Park. It's relatively new. So we want to check that out too. So hopefully we'll make it there. Hi, Lenny.
Haley family asks, is anyone else finding it difficult to book at campgrounds this summer? They have been packed.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting thing that's happened in the RV industry. About 3 or 4 months ago, people were predicting that the RV industry was going to crater, that it was going to go down. And the reverse has happened with all the lockdowns and the quarantine and all that mess, the RV industry is booming right now, and they're selling RVs as fast as they can build them. There's only one problem with that. They're not really building new campgrounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we all are basically dealing with the same number for the most part of campgrounds and campsites.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have been very busy.
Honestly, this makes me really glad that we did the solar this year, because we're going to be doing more boondocking, because we anticipate that campgrounds will be more busy.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out here to Campendium. If you're not familiar with Campendium, it's a great resource for RV travelers where you can find some off the beaten path campgrounds and campsites sometimes.
Yeah. And actually they're doing their annual fundraiser right now. Campendium is a free app, but you can pay to unlock certain features. And right now they're doing their yearly fundraiser where I think if you buy a t-shirt or a hoodie, you get those levels unlocked along with the purchase of your t-shirt or your hoodie. So it's a great time to buy one of those, because then you get your membership and you get a cool t-shirt. So
Hold My Wine asks, what drone are you flying these days? I am heavily favoring the Mavics these days, and I do have the Mavic Air 2, and I've been enjoying that, and I still fly my Mavic 2 Zoom. I love the Zoom feature of the Mavic 2 Zoom model. So that's the one I grab first, really, is usually the Mavic 2. But Mavic 3 is probably on the way soon. So I've already heard leaks and rumors of a new Mavic. Clayton and Sue said, you guys really inspired our channel.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you. And Scott says, we're headed to Mount Mitchell, North Carolina. Been there.
We have not.
We've not been to Mount Mitchell. We've been, I went to school in North Carolina long time ago. And we have family in North Carolina, beautiful state. We went through Asheville a couple of years ago.
I think North Carolina has a lot of really great state parks and sort of hidden gems. I have a friend that went somewhere this past weekend with a bunch of waterfalls in North Carolina. I can't remember the name of it, but
Slippery Rock, maybe?
No, not Slippery Rock. It was somewhere different. But we need to explore North Carolina camping a little more, because usually when we go, we're visiting family. So we're like at their house, hanging out, that sort of thing. So we need to really go and do the camping thing. So maybe we'll do that in the fall.
Charlie on Facebook, I thought this was a sweet question. Any news from the Brain Tumor channel? My behavior is as strange and erratic as ever, unfortunately. I mean, I think I'm all right. I did go in for a medical checkup about a month ago, and they took a lot of blood, and I think things are still percolating along.
He's doing very well. Thank you very much for asking.
That's sweet of you to ask, Charlie. I appreciate it.
So the Brain Tumor channel is on a hiatus. Hopefully it will be a permanent hiatus.
Yeah. The Sean is Crazy channel might be opening up. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Diane says hello from Idaho. Hello, Diane. We hope to get back to Idaho.
Yeah, we want to spend some more time in Idaho this year. So if you have any good tips on some great spots to visit in Idaho, you need to let us know.
Last year when we were in the Tetons over in Wyoming, we did a meetup at Dornan's, the big, the pizza place there in Grand Teton National Park. And a lot of folks from Idaho came over. We met a lot of great people, and they gave us a couple of secret tips of places to go over in Idaho. And we hope to maybe be able to explore some of those this next month in August and September.
Yeah. We've got some other comments up here.
Yeah, we're trying to get to as many of your comments as we can, guys.
Oh, and we have those too, folks.
Oh, yeah. Mark, my best friend Kenny Watson from Eastland says hello. Thank you, Kayla. Kayla's on Facebook. We're streaming to both Facebook and the YouTubes.
Yeah, so you could be watching us on either.
Crazy times. That's progress.
Technology.
Thank you. Tip of the hat to Catherine for the kind tip.
Thank you so much.
Greetings from Stone Mountain State Park, North Carolina.
That sounds nice.
And let's
We have
see.
to put that on our list.
Brosy note.
Oh, there he is.
No. Oh, we got lots of.
Oh, thank you, Raymond.
Right. Says, don't pay attention to our daughter. We will convince her of the fun of an RV.
How old is your daughter? Now I really want to know. I have a feeling that she's like 12 and she's like, oh, this is going to be the most embarrassing thing ever.
You know, I think RV travel is truly a family bonding experience. I mean,
I think it really is.
So,
but we didn't do it when we were kids.
No, I went camping once in our backyard. I think that was that's about all the bonding my dad was
funny.
Just joking.
Funny history. I have an older brother and sister. They're 10 and 14 years older than me. So I was sort of the oops, or my mom says pleasant surprise, but she's being kind by saying that. But my parents used to camp all the time with my brother and sister when they were little. And by the time I came along, they were sort of over it and they had sold their pop-up and we never went. So we went to Disney World instead. So I wasn't complaining. I enjoyed it.
I want to acknowledge Bro C-Note. It says, greetings from St. Albans, New York. Here we go. I'm considering on purchasing an RV, but I'll have a challenge on storage. On storing your RV, it's pretty tricky, honestly. I would definitely think this through, would be my advice. Like, don't buy it and without having done a little research and homework on where you can store it. Because, you know, if you don't have the luxury of being able to store it near your house or on you know, your family land or whatever, then it can be pretty tricky in some places and it can cost some money. And you have to also think about whether you can plug your RV up to electricity, you know, because
that can make it a lot easier to go to your camper and be comfortable when you're packing it or, you know, leaving your fridge on when you're getting ready for a trip or that sort of thing. So, questions to ask.
As far as suggestions, I know here's one unusual suggestion. Our local state park actually has some RV storage adjacent to the campground.
Yeah.
That's something you wouldn't really expect. You might think about going to RV storage places, but this is actually within the state park. It's the largest state park in our system.
Yeah.
But that's kind of an unusual place you could store an RV, for example. So I don't know if New York has a similar arrangement.
Also look at boat storage places because sometimes they'll store both boats and RVs. Just sort of depends on their setup. So
it's a good question.
Good luck with that.
We should probably do a video about RV storage. Let's see. Adam Katz. There's the man.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
How are you?
Says he got back from Moscow, Idaho. Good to
Very
see
cool.
you, as always, Adam.
Yeah.
We had lunch with Adam and his wife a long time ago.
Yeah. He lived in a
Nevada.
different state.
Yeah,
back
that's
then.
right.
Or no, I guess he still lives in the same state, just different part of the state.
Christina asked, have you ever had an electric site at Grovant? Headed there for 2 weeks in September. Grovant, of course, is one of the largest campground actually in the national park systems, my understanding, in the Grand Teton National Park. And they added a certain number of electric sites.
Yeah. So they converted a loop to electric about, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so.
I think my advice would be there's no downside whatsoever.
Yeah.
Getting in those electric sites is only upside. So, I mean, I don't.
It's just, you know, it costs more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the only downside is it costs more. So,
yeah.
So I think you'll enjoy it. Like as far as, you know, the loop, it's a nice loop.
In fact, that's the loop we stayed in the very first time we ever went to Grovant.
Yeah.
It was before it was electric, but that's where we stayed.
You'll enjoy it. It's kind of a luxury having electricity there.
Swanky. And some of the sites are like wide concrete sites. I think they have to have so many of them set aside for anybody that is physically disabled, you know, that has a handicap pass or whatever. But yeah, it's a really, really nice loop.
David says, thank you for the great content and research on
thanks,
RV
David.
stuff. Thank you. Tex said hello from North Carolina. There's Tex and Deb.
Oh, hi, Tex.
Like your American flag.
Someone over here is giving me the paw.
Uh-oh.
I may have to pick her up. Excuse me for just a moment.
Let's see. All right. There's Michaela from Oklahoma. Planning to take a trip to Great Basin National Park. We know it's super remote and rural. Great Basin.
It's in Nevada, right?
In Nevada. We have not been to Great Basin National Park, I don't believe, have we?
And in fact, it was one of the ones that we were going to put on our list.
It might be on our list, so we might see you out there. So if anybody can chime in and give Michaela some tips on Great Basin,
this
now
is
would
who
be a
is
great time.
Wanting some attention. Can you say hi, baby girl?
Let's see. Scott asked, were you able to check out those Rectech pellet grills? We have not yet, but we'll probably be checking out some more pellet grills because we're addicted to grilling things.
We've been grilling and smoking a lot of meat.
Douglas asked, are we going to the Keys this year? I mean, our immediate plans are not to go. If we were to go, it'd probably be later in the year. You know, I would think more winter time.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we'll get there this year.
We've got some good friends down there right now. Ronnie, Dennis, and Tara. his wife.
Airstream Nuts and Bolts.
Yep.
He's actually there right now.
He's down there right now. Let's see. Beth asked, have you ever been to Arcadia? I think you mean Acadia in Maine.
In Maine.
We have. And
beautiful.
It's a beautiful park. Some great hiking there.
Yeah.
You can see the first sunrise.
For the continental United States.
The continental United States there, which we did.
Top of Cadillac Mountain. It's a great park. It's a very unusual park because they have those carriage roads, that used to be used, I guess, back in like the 1800s. And now you can ride bikes on them and that sort of thing. So it's really cool. Oh, baby girl, people are saying hi to you. Can you say hello?
Jen says just an Airstream Classic, 33-foot front bedroom.
Wow.
Very nice. Look forward to the trip to the Keys over the winter. Yep, great time to be down there.
Those 33-foot Airstreams have like the nicest RV bathroom ever in a travel trailer. They're so cool.
If you've never been
very
to
jealous of your bathroom.
The Florida Keys are fantastic. So much fun. We always love going down there. It's one of the most exotic destinations for RV travel. I think.
Yeah, because it feels like you're in the Caribbean.
It does. It just feels.
You're in your RV. It's pretty cool.
It really, truly feels different. Let's see. Mach 5 says Jim Pratt. Congrats on getting your RV. Good to see you, Mach 5, as always. Let's see. Randall says, my wife, we're gearing up following your footsteps. We're doing our homework and we just bought our RV.
Great. Congratulations.
Great. Yep. Welcome to the club. James says, how about coming up northwest, some great, beautiful country with mountains? I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, we've had family living in Washington State. We have great friends who live in Oregon and they technically live in Washington.
Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah, but they work in Oregon. So we always enjoy visiting that part of the country.
Yeah.
Especially summertime.
Yeah.
You live for the summers, right?
For sure.
All right, we're going to recognize some people here. Adam asks, thank you for the tip, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much.
Have you spent much time in New Mexico? Seems that might be a good mountain camping opportunity. Thanks for your beginner videos. It's a good reminder. We need to always keep beginners in mind because we were all beginners at one time. And so from time to time, we like to circle back and just do really fundamental beginner videos. New Mexico, I enjoy New Mexico.
Yeah, it's a beautiful state. I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people don't realize how cold it can get in New Mexico. But, when you're in those sort of, Taos and those kind of places, I guess you can ski in Taos, right? Yeah. We've done, Santa Fe, and obviously we've done that Albuquerque balloon fiesta. That's really cool.
That's a great RVing destination.
Yeah, that's a really cool event to take an RV to. They have a huge RV camping section and the balloons fly right over your RV. It's really cool. So
I love the food in New Mexico too.
Yeah.
I love the food and the culture. Let's see. I want to recognize Randy Monroe. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy, very much.
Says I'm weekending in a 4-wheel camper with solar, but DC only. If I wanted 3 or 4 hours off-grid laptop time, what would you suggest? Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. I will say that I have a special DC laptop plug that will plug directly into, a 12-volt DC outlet.
Yeah.
And so I use that. It's definitely more efficient than using an inverter and converting the DC to AC and using your AC adapter with your laptop. 3 to 4 hours, something I would suggest you consider. I've reviewed a few of these the battery packs that they sometimes call them generators, but they're not really generators. What they are, they're lithium batteries with an inverter in them and some outlets. So you could definitely get 3 or 4 hours of laptop time off one of those. And it doesn't have to be a huge one. Some of them they're about like $150. It's basically a huge battery with some outlets and an inverter. But you could plug directly into the DC if you had one of those cables. So that's kind of what I would suggest, maybe, is getting one of those. Because once you have one of those little lithium power stations, you'll find yourself using it all the time. I use ours.
Yeah,
frequently.
I used it today.
Yeah.
Somebody, John Van, asked a really good question.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody said you're so sweet, baby girl.
She's a wolf. She's a nasty little wolf, aren't you, baby girl?
She's
no.
wanting to be with Sean. So I'm always her second choice if you don't know that. But
she's vicious.
Sean is her first.
John Van.
Had a great question. How do you deal with so many campsites in the national parks not taking reservations? We're worried that we will get stuck without a spot. Well, I would suggest booking a campground near the national park for the night before you're going to arrive to the national park. That way you can get up and be there early so that you can get in line first or close to first. And I think that will greatly improve your chance. Also, I would say arriving on a weekend, like a Friday, is going to lessen your chances because there are a lot of people, that live in the general area of a national park that they go over for the weekend. So that puts you fighting for a site with a lot more people.
And something we've noticed about most national parks, there is an economy just outside the national park where there's usually 2 or 3 campgrounds, that you will have options.
Yeah.
I'm saying outside the national park. Now, it may not be as nice as being in the national park. I mean, for example, in Arches, that was a ridiculously nice campground in Arches National Park.
It was beautiful.
But you have to book a year in advance.
Yeah. It's a very small campground. And in fact, I don't even know, was our Airstream too long? Like maybe 24
it was
feet
on the edge.
The max. We were on the edge.
But, just outside Arches, you could be in Moab and there's a dozen different campgrounds you can choose from. And you're, 10 minutes to Arches. But still, that's an example of one that's, particularly hard to get into.
Yeah.
We've always managed to
We've had
find
a couple
something.
of times where we didn't get in. And sometimes they will have like an overflow area where you can just dry camp overnight and, wait for the next morning. Sometimes we just go out to the local town, and we've parked on the street before overnight, if they allow that in the town that you're in, and just dry camped on this, parked in a parallel space on the side of the road.
We've done that a couple times out of desperation.
Yeah, but that's only happened like maybe twice. So.
Hi, baby girl from Baby Girl Violet.
Say hi.
Hi, Nancy. Let's see. Brenda says, we just bought a camper and we'll be traveling with 2 dogs. Any tips on leaving dogs in RVs? We have actually done an entire video about this where we interviewed some friends of ours who have traveled with 3 pretty large dogs all around the country. And so, they were kind of like true experts and had some really great specific tips.
Yeah.
So if you get into our YouTube channel, I think you can just search different videos and just look up RV travel with pets, or you could Google RV travel with pets, Loloho. And it's about a 20 or 30 minute video with a lot
of detailed information, products that you can get to monitor the temperature inside your rig. I think that's probably the most important thing, is to have a temperature monitor inside your RV, so that if you leave your pet alone in the RV, you can be alerted if the temperature gets too high, so that you can immediately go back and take them out. So,
yeah, there's some pretty good resources available these days. So if you have a Wi-Fi connection, that you will get an instant notification, or you can just tap in and check the temperature inside your RV at any time. That's sort of critical.
Yeah.
Let's see. Scott asks a timely question. How's the travel situation with COVID-19? Are you having to do things different? That's a good question. I think things are a little different because we've heard about some states having, self-quarantine requirements. We've heard of some states like setting up roadblocks and things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, checking your temperature as you drive through. I don't know.
But it's so weird because I think it's changing sometimes almost day to day, depending on where you're going. We've only left the state once since COVID started. I guess we went to Florida and we didn't have any issues. But we'll see once we hit the road in the next week or so and head west.
Yeah.
We might encounter some issues. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll report.
We'll report in.
Yeah, I hope.
Stay tuned.
I actually think people are getting out and they are, traveling. Like I've heard that the parks have been very busy. I've heard that there's been a wait to get into the Grovant campground in Grand Teton National Park. So
I think there are a lot of people that prior to this year would have never considered RV travel. And now that COVID and lockdown has people, landlocked in the lower 48 at least, they are jumping all in and going for it.
RV travel is booming. I mean, the great thing about having an RV is you control the space. It's like your own private hotel room. To that point, we've got a question from Ivan and Josie. Yeah, this is a good question. So, purchased a used Class C Winnebago. What do you recommend as we prepare for our first trip? We've never owned an RV.
Stay in it first.
Well, I would say, as far as your first trip, in terms of, I'm just thinking about driving the Class C, check the tires. I think if you're going to have a problem, a lot of times it will originate in the tires. I'm just saying, like, from our experience, like,
but I would say if you can park it in your driveway and sleep in it,
I agree with that.
Or be at a campground that's within 20 minutes of your house, do that for a night or two before you hit the road, so that you can figure out how everything works, if anything's broken, things that you need to pack that you didn't think you would need. And the other thing I would say is know how tall your rig is.
Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a full video in our channel, of course. If you can ask it, we've probably done a video about it. But we have a video about your first RV trip. Yeah. So again, I think if you get into our channel and look up, literally maybe first RV trip or first trip out, there's some specific advice. I think the first time you go camping in an RV, you'll be surprised at how many times like you've forgotten something. And like, that's why we advise camping close to home for your first trip, because you're probably going to go back and forth once or twice. You'll be like, oh, we forgot our
I also recommend the first few nights that you camp in your RV to camp in a full hookup site with a sewer connection, because if you aren't used to rationing your water usage, you are going to fill up your gray tank really fast.
That's a really good point.
I mean, you might fill up your black tank, probably not, but your gray tank, shower water, sink water, you're going to fill it up really fast. So kind of having that option to do learning curve of being in a full hookup site, I think is good.
Yeah, first trip, stay full hookup. I think, don't try
at least for a few nights.
Tom asked, we're still running our Michelin tires. We are, and they're doing great. We've had no problems. Let me knock on some wood.
Yeah.
We're invincible with our Michelin tires. Let's see. Mark says, make sure your sewer hose reaches before you unhook and level.
That is a
great advice. Very pragmatic advice. Because, I mean, certainly as beginners, we've all had that situation where, like, you pull up and you sort of start setting up in the site, and then you realize you can't connect your sewer hose.
Right.
And we do have a video about setting up a campsite.
Yeah.
Now, it's sort of oriented towards travel trailers because that's what we have, but a lot of the basics would apply to any RV.
Right.
So.
And somebody mentioned Navy showers. Turn the water off when you're soaping up and putting shampoo in your hair and conditioner and that sort of thing, because that's going to save you a lot of water for you newbies.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. It's a lot of fun. You really never forget your first trip in the RV, so just enjoy it.
Oh, look.
Let's see.
Oh, thank you, Marilyn.
Yep, we are from
Alabama.
Let's see. Scott says he went to Dinosaur National Monument last weekend and had a blast. People are starting to get out.
Yeah. I think people are sort of starting to break out,
Yeah.
They've reached that point where they've got to go somewhere. So
it's good for your health.
Yeah. Get out there and take a hike, right? Makes everything better.
Mark Ray asked, how many videos do we have? I think I've seen all of it.
It's like 370.
Yeah, it's almost 400, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a list of a dozen different topics, different videos, but I always ask you guys, if there's a topic you would like to see us cover, don't hesitate to shout it out, because I'm constantly looking
for new ideas.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a pertinent question. John says, what happens when your tanks are full? Will it back up? The first time you go RV camping, especially if you're not, I think the first time we went, we were not in a full hookup. And so like you're running the water in the sink or you're taking a long hot shower, and what happens is you hear like a gurgling, bubbling, like in our RV, and it's like, oh no, what is that sound?
And what is that weird smell?
Yeah, and then you start to smell. I mean, I hate
if
to
your
say
gray
this. If
tank
it's gray,
backs up, it's going to smell like rotten eggs.
yeah, gray
like
water
sulfur.
has a certain just odor to it, frankly.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. And then,
like if our gray tank gets full, it backs up into our shower. So you could be standing at the kitchen sink, and if it's full and you start to hear this gurgling sound, you step in the bathroom and you look in the shower and it's like backing up water in there.
You don't want to hear the gurgling
tank's
sound.
Full.
Somebody needs to invent something to do. Like, actually, a guy in Germany told me a few years ago that they would come up with something that would like incinerate the contents of
your black tank.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty brilliant. But I mean, think about if you could do that somehow with the gray water. I mean, because once that's full, you have one choice. You got to get it out of there. If you're full hookup, you just go out and empty the tank. If you're not a full hookup, you're going to have to get to a dump station. Or, you know, some people carry around these water totes and you can empty gray water into the water tote. I find that a laborious process. I mean, I'm not all about that. But if you're boondocking for a long time, you know, out in the desert somewhere, I can see doing it. And a lot of people do. Let's see.
Somebody mentioned that camping is a super low risk activity. Good point, Frank. We appreciate that.
It's one of the lowest risks in the. Yeah, it's true. I mean, camping is pretty much physically distant. The only risk.
You don't really get in the face of many people when you're truly camping.
Yeah. Bert says the dog looks hungry. Here's a 5-spot for Spot. Oh.
He bought you dinner.
This dog is
like
so spoiled.
It doesn't take much to feed baby girl. So thank you very much, Bert.
We appreciate it, Bert.
That's super sweet.
And I want to thank Nancy Kerrigan for the super
sticker tip. We appreciate that.
Jared says, remember to turn off your fantastic fan when you flush. I wonder why.
Well, it's that, you know, sometimes when you flush your toilet, you know, it has that gas that escapes out through that vent on your roof, and you'll sometimes smell an unpleasant odor.
Yeah.
So if you have your fantastic fan on, it can suck that smell into your RV. So, yeah.
See, Mark says most of the newer campers have a level sensor for the tanks. Ours does have a level sensor, and I think, you know, there are some new level sensors you can get that attach to the outside of the tank and use kind of like a version of sonar or something to measure the contents of the tank. And I think that's a pretty clever design, and that is the most, I guess, the most
our
modern
Blackwater
design.
Tank sensor is not really accurate anymore, so we sort of have to like count up the number of days. Like we know about how long we can go. I think 9 days is the limit.
There are services that'll clean out your tanks for you, by the way, like in certain RV parks and places, you know, you'll find companies that just do that apparently. So ours probably do.
Yeah, but it'll do like an intense cleaning of your black tank. You know, I forget what it's called, sort of like a black tank flush or whatever, which you can do yourself. But they, I think, sort of have more like high-powered equipment. So
18-wheeled overlanding is thinking of changing to a composting toilet and removing the black tank to put in secondary freshwater tank for boondocking. Yeah. You can never have too much fresh water.
By the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you know, we've gotten some questions about composting toilets. I'm not opposed to doing it, but we've been pretty content with our setup, and you know, and haven't had a strong desire to change it either. If you're doing a lot of boondocking, I can certainly see the advantage, you know, of going that route.
Absolutely. Like I said, we usually can go about 9 days without having to empty our black tank. So we rarely boondock longer than that.
Marianne on Facebook asks our favorite camping meal. One of our favorites is certainly the hobo pockets.
Yeah, that's always a fun meal to do because everybody can like make their own and you put it in the campfire. We have a whole video about it if you've never made one.
We'll give a shout out to Uncle Scott's Kitchen.
Yes. Check out his YouTube channel, Uncle Scott's Kitchen.
Yeah, he's a friend of ours who we go camping together with from time to time. Yeah. And hobo pockets, it's like tinfoil dinners or whatever. We like you put all the ingredients.
Potatoes and carrots and hamburger meat, and I put garlic and all kinds of stuff in mine. But look, it's Nader.
Oh, there's Nader. Oh, thank you, Nader.
Hi, Nader.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the tip. We appreciate it. We
met
hope you guys
Nader
are doing
in the
well.
Tetons last year.
Yeah, he and his wife. So sweet.
They gave us a great bottle of wine. It was
Yes,
so kind.
they
We appreciate
did.
it very much.
Thank you
Wine
very
is always
much.
appreciated.
Yeah.
I will always remember that. Mach 5 says we have
390
390 videos.
So you were
posted on our
right.
channel.
Almost 400. We'll try to get there.
Yeah. We're going for 400.
Let's see. Diane was there.
Yeah.
Did you see? Hi, Diane.
Says, hi, guys.
Hope you're doing well.
Diane. Okay, here's a good question from Sandy. It says, when you're on the road, where can you fill up with fresh water? You know, it's interesting because some places, some communities will even have community dump stations.
Mhm.
They're not common, but like I can think, for example, in Salt Lake City, there's like a town like where they had a dump station with fresh water.
Mhm.
A lot of truck stops, not all of them, but a lot of them will have fresh water and a dump station. Sometimes you get lucky and those are free, but these days not so much anymore. I mean, it's usually there might be a fee, $7 to use the dump station.
And you know, if you're boondocking and you need to stop and fill up your freshwater tank before you go out to your boondocking site, most RV parks will let people that aren't staying there come and use their dump station for a fee, $5, $10, whatever, and you can empty your tanks and fill your freshwater tank at the same time.
You do always have to watch because it's some of these dump stations, it's not potable water.
Yeah.
And you'll usually see a label. And of
Hence
course, I have
Sean's favorite shtick.
I have a running spit take gag about, drinking non-potable water. But
as a joke, not really doing it. But.
So you have to keep an eye out for that. You know what I would like, this is, I'll throw this out there to any community leaders who might be watching. Since we're regulated in where we can dispose of gray water, and, I can understand that maybe, but gray water is basically soapy water with maybe a little bits of food in it from cleaning dishes or whatever. Mm-hmm. But what if every community had some sort of dump station?
Yeah.
Like a community dump station, and, there could be a fee attached to it, even, that's fine.
Yeah, but, $5 or something, whatever.
I actually talked to an engineer about this one time, and he said there's basically nothing much in terms of maintenance on a dump station once it's been constructed. Yeah. Of course, there's the cost of water or whatever, but there are a couple of apps that we've used to find dump stations, and you can still find free dump stations and free fresh water, but it's just... it's getting harder to find. To be honest.
For sure.
But I'd be happy to pay for it, but think about if the community set it up and you knew you could find one. Like in the state of Alabama, for example, the rest areas have most of them have dump stations.
And they're free.
And they may or may not have fresh water.
Yeah.
Like I said, the fresh water in those places may not be potable. But so that's kind of a tip. Anytime you're going through a different state, you could always just check out that rest area, because they may have a dump station that you could use.
That's something else that you can find on Campendium.
Yeah.
If you use that app, you can find dump stations. So another use for that. Let's see.
Asher says, do you ever leave your trailer in a camp area and go on day excursions? Do trailers get stolen? The answer is yes and yes. I mean, every year we hear a few stories about trailers getting stolen. I would say it's very rare for one to be stolen from a campground or campsite. In fact, I don't know that I've ever heard of that happening.
I think it's a lot of times it usually happens at storage facilities that are like not manned, or people that have theirs parked on the street near their house, that sort of thing. But
in a camping area, people are watching, and unless you're in Las Vegas, all bets are off in Las Vegas. They might steal it with you inside.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry. We had some theft issues in Las Vegas.
We still love Las Vegas, but
But we have done a couple of videos, or one video in particular, about a lock that we have for our trailer. And it's a hitch lock, and it's a really good, it's not like a rinky-dink $5 lock. This is like a heavy-duty $200 lock.
Yeah, and we also have a wheel lock that we can put on our, like the wheel of our trailer. But here's the thing. Any lock that you put on couldn't be broken. I mean, even that really heavy-duty nice lock we have, it's not completely theft-proof. But what it will do is slow somebody down and draw attention to them or make it not worth their time. They're going to move on to somebody else that doesn't have a hitch lock. So that's probably the biggest suggestion. You can also get those little GPS tags now that you can leave in your RV. So if it did get stolen, they can track it down.
I think your risk of theft is very low in any kind of camping environment. Now, in
Yeah.
a storage place, it happens occasionally, but it's
In a
pretty
campground, I think what's going to get stolen is stuff that you leave at your site. A bike, a chair, a cooler, and even that is pretty rare.
Rare. Yeah.
But if you're camping at the Circus KOA,
Might want to move down the street.
lock it all up, kids. Roll them up, kids.
Brian asked, do you travel with fresh water? We absolutely do travel with fresh water. And there are two schools of thought on this. We fill up our freshwater tank before getting on the road.
In regard to that, Justin
And
Miller
Justin
wants
says,
to know
well, how much do you travel with? We fill it up full
Yeah.
before we get on the road. And our freshwater tank lies kind of between the two axles on our trailer. And so in theory, it kind of helps keep those axles
some weight.
more firmly planted and makes the rig tow better. Now, some people would say if you have a half full freshwater tank, that you could get some sloshing action going on.
Some sway.
That could contribute to trailer sway. So that's one reason that we fill up our freshwater tank. And I'm sure there are probably other people out there who empty their tanks completely before they tow.
Yeah.
You can definitely take a lot of weight out of your rig by emptying those water tanks because you don't realize how heavy water actually is.
Yeah. So what is it, 8 pounds a gallon?
Yeah. I'll tell you, an eye-opening experience is if you have one of those little water totes and you're emptying out your gray water, like a relatively small water tote that looks like a suitcase, you won't believe how heavy that is when you fill it up. You have to roll them around. I mean, they're so heavy, you can't really lift it unless there's water inside. So that's a great way to reduce weight is to take the water out of your rig. Charles says out west, the Maverick fuel stations and stores usually have free fresh water and free dump stations. That is true.
We actually use one.
And we've used them in Utah.
Draper, Utah, all the time.
Shout out to Maverick because I do appreciate them having that for RV travelers. It's really great. Let's see. Hart.
I wish you guys could see baby girl. She's sitting in my lap and she's staring at Sean with both paws, giving the please give me attention.
I know.
So pitiful. She's having to sit in my lap.
On Facebook, Hart asked,
terrible.
what is your favorite camping app? I'll probably go back to Campendium in terms of
finding a good site and dump stations and that sort of thing. That'd probably be my answer.
Here's the weight of water from TJ, 8.33 pounds per gallon. So 100 gallons of water is, 833 pounds. It adds up because we would have, if all of our tanks were full, probably more than 1,000 pounds of water weight.
Right.
Because we have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh, this is good.
Ivan and Josie said our first trip is actually to Alabama to visit friends. They're close to Redstone, Alabama. I'll have to look at Redstone, but are you talking about Redstone Arsenal? Because there's a great little campground near the Space and Rocket Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's very inexpensive. It's full hookup. It's just a nice little wooded
But if you want a state park setting, that Monsanto State Park, sort of on that mountaintop, is a nice park. We haven't camped in an RV there before, but we've driven through it, and it's a nice park. So,
if you guys have not been to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, I would highly recommend it. They have a really unique museum there with a lot of items from the lunar missions, like the lunar landing, lunar rovers, all that.
They
stuff.
also have the Airstream that the astronauts quarantined in.
Nathan asks, how's your retracts holding up? It's holding up
very well.
Great. In fact, I'm probably going to do a video pretty soon of my favorite truck modifications and things that we've done to our aging F-250.
Yeah.
But the retracts was an awesome addition to the truck. I mean, really, if I were getting a new truck, I think day one, I would get one of those
that
things
on for sure.
without a question.
Absolutely.
Let's see. 18-wheeled. Overlanding says most truck stops have a dump station. I mean, a lot of them definitely do. Chris said Sean's twin walking in Houston was going to say something, but reached my quota being called crazy for the day. And if you see a guy walking around with a Tilly hat. Lori asked, will you ever do another meetup? We definitely will. And we'll try and do one, I would say, in August.
Somewhere on the road. Yeah. We'll try to announce it a few days in advance. You know, we aren't planners. So
yeah, what I want to do is
set a date is tough.
I'm going to try and like when we're in Utah, maybe in Salt Lake City, in that area, we may do one. So stay tuned for that. Let's see.
Somebody says, how did we meet?
How did we meet?
How did we meet? You want to tell that story?
Well, no. It's a long story.
We met at a barbecue.
Yeah.
Somebody I worked with was friends with Sean's business partner and invited our office to their barbecue. And I went, and oddly enough, we basically just met briefly that evening. And a year later, we ran into each other.
Barbecue is a very civilized term for one of those gatherings. Yeah, it
was a party. I was trying to make it family friendly, right?
It was a barbecue.
It was in the backyard.
It was. I don't know if anyone was actually.
It was
at
Uncle Scott's kitchen.
It was at Uncle Scott's kitchen.
Yeah. So then a year later, we ran into each other, and we were both single, and we went on a date, and that was that.
Here's an interesting observation from Cowboy Biker Adventures, who says, if your freshwater tank is full, your gray and black tanks should be empty. In theory, you should never have more gallons of fluid on board than your freshwater tank amount.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I will say we certainly, whenever possible, we would empty our gray and black before we tow.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we can. And also because it sort of frees them up for boondocking possibilities.
Right.
Camping without any hookups.
Quick answer to Doug Barber's question. What's Retrax? Retrax is our tonneau cover. It's a metal retractable tonneau cover that you can lock. And it's been great. So just to answer that question.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of like once you get one, you're like, why didn't we do this a long time ago?
And Retrax is RETRAX. So if you were looking for that, that's how you find it.
Michael says he loved the Space and Rocket Center a few years ago, stayed at the campground there. Nearly wrecked when he saw the Saturn V. I mean, there's just some awesome rockets there.
Nobody thinks about Alabama being a space and rocket, destination. But yeah, if you meet someone in the Huntsville, Alabama area and they tell you they're a rocket scientist, they aren't joking. Like, really, it's like the number of people that live there that are rocket scientists is crazy. In fact, Sean's aunt is a rocket scientist and lives in Huntsville. So,
oh, look who's joining us from California.
Vinnie!
It's Vinnie Lamica.
Hi, Vinnie. We miss you guys.
Oh, yeah, Daryl.
We hope to see you
Daryl says hi, Vinnie. Vinnie says hi, Daryl.
It's just a hangout in the comments section.
It is. Vinnie, I hope you have room for our Airstream somewhere on your beautiful property in Wilton. We might be showing up at your doorstep. John Marucci says, hey guys, great to see you on live again. Someone asked if their kids can sleep in the RV while traveling. Wouldn't that depend on class A, B, C, or TT?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so.
So if you're in a class A motorhome, it's your call. I mean, you're in the RV. If you're comfortable with your kid laying in the bed, that's up to you. I don't think they have a seatbelt in their bed. So if you're cool with your kid not having a seatbelt on while you're rolling down the road, go for it. I mean, that's your call as a parent. Class B's and C's. Class B, I would think, same situation. Class C, same situation, because it's all enclosed together, So it's just how comfortable you are with your kid not wearing a seatbelt. Travel trailer, I would say absolutely not. Most states, it's illegal for someone to ride in a travel trailer while it's being towed. There are a few states that allow it.
I've done it just for research purposes.
For sure, we literally drove like 2 blocks.
I have to say, it's pretty fun riding around back there, having a cold beer while your wife tows you through town.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
The beer will end up on your shirt because you're going to be like this. You forget that a travel trailer does not have the shock absorbers that a Class A, B, or C has. You know, it's not a vehicle with an engine. So when it's going down the road, it's like a 4.5 on the Richter scale, like earthquake wise. So it is super bouncy. So if your kid was in a bed in a travel trailer, they wouldn't be getting any sleep.
I think at a high speed, I think it would be terrifying.
Yeah,
to be in one,
because we've only done it on like a side street just to see what it was like, and I think we got up to a whopping like 30 miles an hour, and it was this like. Sean did a video one time.
Yeah, I did.
And I was in the bed, and literally you could see me like bounce my whole body.
That was like up in the Yukon territory or something.
We were moving from one side of a parking lot to the other. So
we got some good. Carolyn said, I bought my husband a Tilly hat, and he likes it very much, especially when we're in quartzite for the winter.
Yeah, perfect. Tilly makes great hats.
Denise says, my dad was a rocket scientist. Yeah, there's an old saying about Huntsville, Alabama, because there were so many NASA scientists there that if you met someone and they claimed to be a rocket scientist, they're probably...
I said that earlier.
Yeah, it doesn't take a rocket. I was probably reading comments.
Yes.
It's like an old joke.
Yeah, they probably are.
Kenneth asks another toilet-related question. What's your take on...
Toilets are what scare people about RVs.
I think so.
You know, they've seen too many movies that make it really bad.
Yeah. I think the macerators, or everything I've heard about them, is that they work well. I mean, that's what I would say.
We've never used one, so
we haven't used one. I mean, I think the traditional arrangement, it works. And, as long as you put chemicals in your tank, maintain
use enough water when you flush your toilet.
Yeah, exactly. You want to keep some water in there, and you want to just sort of keep everything hunky-dory in there.
Right. Jim Pratt makes a really good comment.
Don't drive with your pets in the trailer either.
Yeah, don't leave your pets in a travel trailer or a fifth wheel while you're towing. That is a bad idea. And if you ever see an accident with somebody towing a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, a lot of times the tow vehicle is okay, but the travel trailer or the fifth wheel is totally demolished. And goodness, you would not want a person or a pet in there, So
Johnny Lightning says in most states it's illegal not to have your kids strapped in anytime you're underway.
Oh, okay.
I guess that might be true in a motorhome as
yeah.
well.
So now a lot of the sofas in Class A's, B's, and C's will have a seatbelt. So technically, I guess your kid could sleep on the sofa with a seatbelt on.
This is an interesting comment from Misty Williams. They just finished up a 30-ish day trip out west from Ohio. It says it was awesome, but the crowds were different depending on where they were. Grand Canyon felt empty while the Tetons were packed. Thanks to your videos, we made the hobo pockets. They were great.
Yay!
Very cool.
Glad you like the hobo pockets. They're kind of like a little science experiment that, ends with a yummy meal.
I've had this theory about the national parks that some of them were going to be kind of empty, but then I've heard reports that the Tetons
I think the Tetons in Yellowstone are really getting slammed. And my personal guess on why that is because normally getting to the Tetons in Yellowstone is pretty tough for a lot of people. They're not near like a big metropolitan city. So most people are really pressed for time. They don't have the time to take an RV there or what have you. Well, now people have loads of time. And so they're thinking, where's the one place we want to take our RV? Yellowstone.
Right.
Grand Teton. So they're sort of like all beelining it there. And I think some of the other national parks are not as busy because a lot of people are going there instead.
And I know that there won't be many international visitors. A lot of times in Yellowstone, once you get to the shoulder season, there'll be mostly international visitors. But this year, that probably won't be the case because of the travel restrictions.
So no big tour buses coming through? Bobby Gusnard?
Yeah, I want to give Roll Tide to Bobby, Jane, Glenn, Gusnard.
Bobby's my cousin.
Stinky's RV Adventures says some of the newer travel trailers have shocks.
Huh, that's interesting.
That makes sense.
Probably save some of your stuff inside your camper a little bit, from the bounce.
Yeah. Amy Russell Says, hi there. Have you seen the movie RV with Robin Williams? What's your opinion on it?
You know, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, I've sort of just seen clips and highlights.
I've seen
I know you're
like
not going to
little
believe
blips of it, you know, but I've never sat down and watched it. Sorry. We have watched the long trailer.
What I saw of it looked pretty funny. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think they kind of went for some obvious jokes. But
yeah, the toilet humor,
Yeah.
I think is, yeah.
But you know, I have heard some stories in real life of things like that happening. So
Yeah. So
I did really love a lot of Robin Williams' work. He's definitely very talented. And so
somebody asked about what shower head we use. And this goes back to people that are newbies that are learning water conservation. We have a Oxygenics shower head, and I highly recommend that you get one of those. It will increase your water pressure and use less water. You can find it in our Amazon store, which is at amazon.com/shop/long honeymoon. So you can find it there. And we've had one of those almost since day one because trust me, it'll greatly improve your water pressure and you'll use way less water.
So, yeah, that was a big upgrade. Probably one of the best upgrades we've made to our.
I mean, it's like a $30
trailer.
upgrade that will change your camping experience for the better, for sure.
On Facebook, Tim asks a pertinent question. Chinese tires, swap them out to Goodyear ST or LT. We swapped out to LT tires and we swapped to Michelin. But I understand that Goodyear now they're making better tires than
tire in the USA, the Goodyear Endurance.
Yeah.
And we've heard a lot of good things about it. We don't have personal experience, so we can't tell you firsthand, but we have heard a lot of good things about it. So you could check out that option as well. And talk to your tire professional.
Yeah.
Professional opinion.
It's our liability disclaimer.
Yeah, that's so.
We had some pretty bad experience with Goodyear Marathon tires,
Yeah.
but it was a long time ago, and I think they've improved since that time.
Let's hope.
James says, "I dare you to camp in Hawaii." I'm going to take you up on that.
We might do it, but not in our Airstream.
You know, we've still been to 49 states.
We still haven't made it to Hawaii.
I'm so tired of saying we've been to 49 states because it's like, come on, can you just get to the 50th state?
We haven't made it
Like
there.
it would be so much cooler to say we've been to all 50 states, but I can't say that, honestly. Let's see. Toilet brush salesman. How do you feel about the YouTube travel vloggers jumping on the motorhome bandwagon just because of the situation? I'm not
we
sure
haven't
what that
really.
means.
I think what he's talking about, a lot of these travel vloggers that normally go on international trips. It's like all of a sudden they're buying an RV and they're doing RV videos. I've seen a couple. I mean, I get it. I understand why they're doing it, because if they are a full-time travel vlogger and they can't travel anywhere else,
yeah, they got to go.
I'm sure they're sort of desperate for content to keep their channel going. So, I mean, still watch Long Honeymoon first, right?
You know, on that point, it's interesting because I assume they're putting the RV content on their main channel. Like, we enjoy all types of travel, and I've done a lot of different types of travel. You know, Long Honeymoon we've dedicated primarily to RV travel. I mean, and that's our bread and butter. But, you know, I think it's fine. I'm sort of in favor of anybody who wants to get out there and see more of the world, whether they're anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go. Get out and, you know, meet some people, experience some different culture.
Places.
Yeah.
Meet all kinds of folks.
Overall, I think the world's a better place when we get out there and travel, whether it's within our country, outside the country.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I saw where John Marucci left a tip, and I don't know if we thanked you, John.
Thank you,
John,
very
much. We appreciated that.
Yeah. John has a YouTube channel too.
Yes.
John Marucci. If you have an RPod, you should definitely check out his channel.
He does a lot of content with
RPods. He got another, I think, travel trailer. Don't quote me on that, John.
Yes.
But I know you got another RV.
I can't remember what brand it is.
So let's see. Marilyn asked, did you upgrade your steps to the Airstream? My least favorite part of camping is stepping on those small steps coming out of the trailer. The steps can be an issue, and this is probably true of every RV. You got to be really cautious about getting in and out of your RV on those steps. You're always in a different environment, and what's beneath the steps is always going to be a little bit different. And like our steps, sorry, our steps are sort of rinky dink a little bit.
Yeah.
I was, like we have upgraded in one way. Like Ronnie came up with this sort of support bar.
So for those of you who don't know Ronnie is Ronnie Dennis of Airstream Nuts and Bolts. He's who installed our solar package. He does Airstream repair and upgrade.
And DIY stuff. But he came up with a bar that literally stabilizes the step.
It's made a big difference for us for sure. And I think he sells those. He makes them himself and sells them. So if you have an Airstream, check that out. Otherwise, they have those sort of like stabilizers that you can buy at like, Amazon or whatever that go under your step if you have a fifth wheel or whatever. I think the biggest tip is hold on when you are coming in and out of your RV. Hold on to a door. The grab bar is there for a reason. Hold on to it. We both have learned the hard way. Sean broke his foot stepping out of our Airstream about 5 years ago.
Not a lot of fun. It was probably a year recovering from that.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 or 4 months.
Ended our trip immediately.
On a scooter.
We had to put our RV in storage and fly home.
I now have a piece of metal in my foot.
Yeah. And then I had an experience stepping out on a rainy day, and there were some leaves on our step. And I put one foot down and my feet went completely out from under me. And I hit the door frame with my back and then bounced down the steps. It's a good thing I've got a padded rear end.
Man, if only I'd been rolling video at that time, it would have been
because you would have heard the scream.
Yeah.
It really hurt my back, and I'm very thankful that I didn't break anything. But hold on would be my tip.
Let's see. Do you guys have any favorite places to go where there's cold water in the country where you can take a dip, get out of the Texas heat? To get away from southern heat, I mean, we typically go up to we go west and north.
Yeah. Anywhere you get pretty decently north, the water is going to be cold. If you're in a lake or a stream or the ocean, the Pacific Ocean is pretty darn cold. The Atlantic Ocean is pretty cold. The Gulf of Mexico will be warm.
But I mean, to that point, even like in Yellowstone, we've heard that they've closed down the swimming holes this year.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So normally we will go to the Boiling River swimming spot that's sort of near Gardner, Montana. It's still within the park boundaries, but you get in the stream there and you sort of meander over to where the hot water pours into the stream. So it's sort of like being in a little hot tub. And trust me, when you get in that stream and you're not near the hot water, it is some cold water.
Yeah. It's just ice cold.
It will take your breath away.
We've done a couple of videos about that.
Yeah.
About the Yellowstone swimming holes and that sort of thing. But how it's just ice water going into hot water.
Yeah. So you sort of have to find the perfect spot.
Let's see. Benny says Ronnie's going to install their micro air.
Yeah, perfect.
We did a video recently talking about running your air conditioner using a generator. And if you get one of these little easy start or soft start devices installed on your air conditioner, it requires a lot less electricity to start. It's the startup that sucks so much juice and will often overload, some smaller generators. I want to point out, Leland says, my wife broke her leg on the fold out steps. It's just sort of a cautionary tale. I'm like, I broke my foot, and just something for all of us to keep in mind. We've done a couple of safety videos where we talk about all the various injuries we've suffered over the years. But that was the worst, probably.
Somebody was asking about ants. And John Marucci mentioned that we have a whole video about ants.
We do. We have at least 2 videos on ants. But there's one video with a lot of specific tips and strategies on dealing with ants.
We've only really had one campground experience where we were just overrun with ants, and it's in one of those videos. So just know that if you encounter them somewhere, they aren't everywhere. Sometimes it's just where you happen to be camping and they're coming for everybody, and they don't care who you are or what you have or don't have in your RV. They're going to find a way to find you. So just know that it's not forever. You will survive.
Let's see. Somebody said our camera is out of focus. Is that true?
Is it really?
I don't believe it. No,
Maybe
I think,
your internet connection isn't great.
yeah, I think what happens sometimes on these live feeds, you're sort of your resolution is going to be a little bit lower because it's a live stream, but we're using a nice camera. Traveler asks, how's the Champion generator doing? Champion generator is doing well, and all I can say is about the Champion, it works every time we use it. I mean, again, I'm going to knock on wood, but for the most part, we haven't had many problems out of that unit, and it starts every time I try to start it.
Yeah,
and it powers what we need it to power.
And it has a little remote start, so you can.
Yeah, that's the best.
When you need to, so it's great. I mean, I think for the money, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, for the money, I mean, for like a kind of a more value-oriented brand of generator, they include wonderful features, and they seem to be pretty well made, and they last. So
yeah, and they seem to have good customer service as well. So
see, we've added solar. Sometimes I will make the verbal mistake of saying we switched to solar. We have not
added it.
Yeah, we've added solar, but we will still supplement the solar with a generator from time to time, especially when we need to run our air conditioner for like 8 hours or 10 hours at a time, which, you know, might happen from time to time if you're out there.
You're in a Walmart parking lot in Texas and it's 95 degrees outside.
Now, I think unless you've been in the heat in the southern portion of the United States, you may not fully realize what it would be like to be
in a camper. Sweated it out in the South.
I think air conditioning is one of the most underrated inventions in human history.
Yeah, why don't we have like a museum, or maybe there is a museum, we just don't know about it. For what is it, Carrier?
Carrier is the guy who invented it, but like it really is a game changer.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Oh,
Dennis says we could stay home and binge watch Long Honeymoon, but we've seen them all, so that's not a good plan.
You can rewatch your favorites.
We're working on making more.
Yeah.
So Dennis, if you have any topic requests, let me know. Shelly asked when we're coming back to Michigan. We should be in Michigan right now.
Yeah, I bet this is sort of like the perfect time of year to be in Michigan.
Yeah, I bet this is the perfect time.
But I bet it's slammed because that is RV country up there. Even when it's not pandemic RV madness, it's pretty darn busy there in the summer. So yeah, plan in advance if you're going there, folks.
Yeah, we need to go back.
Yeah,
I will say
it's a beautiful place for sure.
Let's see. Here's tomorrow. Milo says tomorrow we'll decide if I will retire in October.
Oh wow.
We live in the Southwest. Are thinking of taking an extended trip. Any suggestions?
Go where you've always wanted to go.
Yeah, that's the best suggestion.
You're going to have the time, so be adventurous.
But you're going to decide tomorrow if you want to retire.
It's a big decision.
I say do it. I don't know. What's the downside to doing it? Like, I don't know. Of course, I don't know all of Milo's details, but life is short.
Oh, somebody says I'm wrong. They said Train invented the air conditioner.
I looked this up a few years ago.
I think it's Carrier.
And I think it was Carrier. Train stole it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Matt says, Kristy, we need a video about you backing up the trailer.
Actually, that's something I don't have a lot of experience doing, to be honest. I drive it a lot. I park it a lot as far as like just in a drive up space or whatever, somewhere. But I haven't done a lot of backing. So we probably should do that. I need to practice that. I could do it if I had to, I'm sure. But I mean, it'd probably take, a long time. But
I think you would you'd surprise yourself. She'd probably do better than I do.
I don't know about that, but
Kristy can drive a manual transmission vehicle, which these days is a pretty rare.
My daily driver right now is a manual transmission.
I mean, I grew up driving manual transmissions. And
that's my car that I had in college was a manual transmission. But it was so funny to me how many people I would meet that didn't know how to drive one and didn't want to learn. I actually dated a guy who didn't know how to drive one, and I offered to teach him, and he said no. So
she dumped that guy.
Well, let's see.
Joseph asked a question about our generator. Does the Champion have an extra tank hookup? It does not. And now if you have the dual fuel, you could attach a large propane tank.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, frankly, you could run off gasoline or propane. So in that case, you would sort of have an extra tank, depending on how you look at it. But that's the one weakness I would say of our gasoline Champion generator. It's got a pretty small fuel tank. Like it really needs to have a fuel tank probably about 3 times as big as it is. But I guess a compromise had to be made somewhere. So April asks, is there a small air conditioner for RVs? Somebody needs to invent something like that.
You mean like a portable one or something? Or
I've seen a couple of attempts to do a small air conditioner for RVs. I saw one at Quartzsite, the big RV show, and it was I don't know how to describe this technology, so I'm not even gonna. It wasn't like a window unit. It was like a.
And it wasn't the traditional roof mounted unit either.
No. But anyway, to my knowledge, I don't know of one that works really, really well, unfortunately. Someone needs to come up with one. Let's see. Charles says, side view and observation cameras are a must for backing up. You know, back in my day, we didn't have any fancy side view and observation cameras. My wife was my observation camera.
This is true.
No, it really, like, as far as my favorite truck upgrades, I would say the rear view camera on our truck has been critical many times. But as far as side view and rear cameras on your trailer, not everybody has that.
Yeah.
That I would say they're a luxury and they're, very nice to have. And that's certainly technology that has come a long way in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Like, so the range is good enough now and the clarity is good enough. So, I mean, I agree with you, Charles, that they are highly beneficial to have.
Yeah. I still think that a person standing, where they can see the rear end of your RV to, let you know if you're about to hit something is pretty crucial. That's where walkie-talkies really come in handy, especially when you're camping in places that don't have cell service. Like a lot of national parks don't have good cell service, so don't rely on your cell phone to call to give directions on backing up. Get yourself some cheap little walkie-talkies. And the other suggestion that we always tell people, if you watch our video on backing up an RV, when you're giving instructions to somebody backing up, don't say right or left, because it's so confusing, because it's like who's right, who's left, whatever. Say driver's side and passenger side, because that will never change. The driver's side's always going to be the driver's side, so you need to be closer on the driver's side, or you need to be more towards the passenger side. So that's
we do have videos for those of you who are newcomers to our channel or newcomers to RV travel. We have 2 or 3 videos about backing up travel trailers, which I think would apply to any kind of towable RV.
The Scoop.
The Scoop is one of them.
Watch the Scoop video.
It's an oldie,
it's very entertaining,
but a goodie.
And it will teach you some really good information on backing up a travel trailer.
So, we need to cover this topic again. And I agree that having you back up the trailer would be very interesting.
Yeah. It'd be good for a laugh, probably. Oh, Catherine says I was right.
Yep.
Carrier
Catherine confirms that Willis Carrier invented air conditioning. Thank you.
Carrier.
Let's see. Kelly says, it's Jim's
hi.
wife.
Hi, Kelly.
Says, for those asking about Harvest Host, Jim and I are members. We haven't done Harvest Host yet.
But we might do it this year.
Yeah.
Since we have more boondocking luxuries like our solar, we'll probably be doing that more.
There's Dave Kawa.
Hey, Dave.
Good
how are you?
See you and hear from you. He says, I'm in the process of putting a small air conditioner in my travel trailer. We'll let you know how it works.
Very cool. Let's see.
Diane asked, what would you say to the women out there who want to get behind the wheel but are nervous to tow? You guys did a great video with Aaron.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we did an interview with a friend of ours on this very topic, who is a solo female traveler, and she has an Airstream. She hitches, unhitches, tows, backs up.
In. She does it everything.
She does all that stuff. So
I think even if you have a partner, I think it's important to know how to tow, because, in fact, our very first big trip after we got married, Sean cut himself on like a rusty piece of metal and had to get a tetanus shot. And, they said, oh, you might not feel so great after this. So maybe you shouldn't be driving this big rig or whatever. So I started towing. Thank goodness we were in the middle of Nebraska and it was just wide open spaces. So that was sort of like me jumping in the deep end on towing. And I hear from a lot of people, like the female side of the partnership doesn't tow. And then something happens and they have to tow. And then it's a bad situation if you're somewhere, heavily populated. So I would just say start out, in the countryside or small towns, that sort of thing. Get the hang of it a little bit before you head into the city, because that's where it's the most stressful.
Mm-hmm.
The more people that are around, the more traffic that's around you.
Definitely.
So anytime that you're, out and about where you've got space, big parking lot, give it a go.
Yeah, especially
practice makes perfect.
When you're going to practice backing up a travel trailer, go to an empty parking lot.
For sure.
And practice.
Get yourself some
Jim says
cones.
You got to do the hand gesture. I think this was
scoop.
it. The scoop. The scoop.
Yep.
The scoop. A classic. A long honeymoon classic.
Yes. That video, I have to toot Sean's horn for him because he did a great job. He did stop motion animation for that video. So if you haven't ever watched it, you should watch it because he simulated a little campground with all these little cars and did the stop motion animation.
Actually, it's funny because
it's actually a really funny video, but you remember everything because it was funny. So,
and this was done sort of before the age of drones. So I was trying to figure out how can I show this from overhead, so you
like
can
an
see
aerial
the scoop.
view, right?
And so stop motion it was.
Yeah. So it's a great video.
This is JD Greenleaf says, watching your videos and the driver's side and passenger side was a huge asset to us when we were new. And somebody else said that has prevented a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like when you're backing up a travel trailer, referring to the driver's side of the rig or vehicle or the passenger side, because we found for us that just clarified in our minds
which side of the RV you're talking about. Because if you say right or left, well, is it the driver's right or left if they're looking over their shoulder? Or, it can get really confusing saying right or left. So driver's side, passenger side, you'll be good to go.
Wally says he's still stoked about the hydraulic tongue jack. Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying the scoop is helpful. I'm glad to hear that. And
Sharon
a lot of
says, stop
women.
with the poop. No, it's not the poop. It's the scoop.
Scott and Sherry, glad to hear the scoop was helpful.
Rory says, I'm a solo female. I don't think anyone who wants to learn can do it.
Absolutely. I think the fear is the biggest obstacle to overcome.
JPG asks, will you make it to Yellowstone this fall? I think
maybe.
It's a definite maybe. I think I would say even probably, but there's one issue with us going to Yellowstone, and it's last year Yellowstone completely kicked our beep.
Yeah.
Yellowstone almost broke us last year because, we had been going late in the season for many, many years and enjoyed having the park almost to ourselves. Yeah. This time,
and actually experienced great weather several times. In fact, we were there mid-October one year. The year we filmed the Boiling River Hot Pot video in Gardner, we were there like the second week of October, going out to get in that river in our swimsuits, and it was like 75 and sunny every day. Well, this year it was not 75 and sunny the first week of October, let me tell you.
No, it was one of those occasions where the snow that we received greatly exceeded what was predicted. Okay, they predicted a little dusting
at midnight,
and
instead we got like 3 to 4 inches at 3 in the afternoon
as we were towing up the mountainside. And so it was a pretty scary situation.
Yeah,
definitely our toughest tow ever. That's on my list of videos to do, but I cringe.
It's a stressful event for us to sort of relive. And we know that when you post a video like that, the comments you're going to get, people will be so mean and so judgmental, like you're so stupid, blah, blah, blah. But, the ranger even told us that the park was taken by surprise by the storm. They were not prepared. And so that made us feel better.
Yeah, it was one of those nights in Yellowstone where they had to close all the highways and
All the
lots of
roads.
people got stuck. And the ranger later told me he was out until like 4 a.m.
helping people got stuck
throughout the park.
So it wasn't just us. But yeah, when you share mistake, not even mistakes, because we did follow the weather report, and that's why we were going when we went, because we thought we were going to get there before anything happened. But anytime something goes wrong, you put yourself out there for criticism, and so that can be tough.
PJ asked, with the new 2021 models, what would be a first upgrade to do? Now, it depends on your budget and what you're looking for, but like we've seen Ronnie doing a lot of upgrades, you know, at his shop on newer trailers. And what some people are opting to do, don't even get the factory solar package and then just get an aftermarket solar package. But that's a pretty big.
That's a big expense.
That's a big upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, we did this for 13 years before we got solar, so don't feel like we're pressuring you to do that.
You know, a small upgrade that they did, because they just bought a new 2021 travel trailer, is upgrade the cushions and like upgraded like the seat cushions and everything in their trailer to something that was a little more comfortable, that they like better.
For sure. I think the easy start on your air conditioner could be a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. The oxygenic shower head.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. You need to have a water efficient shower head.
Yes, absolutely. That'll be the best $30 you're going to spend. Anybody with hair to wash will be thankful for that.
That's a really good inexpensive upgrade.
Huge difference.
Let's see. Dennis said, can you respond to my super chat? I can.
Oh, let's see. Sorry. Sometimes they pass us by and we can't see them immediately.
Dennis says,
thanks for the tip, by the way. We appreciate that.
We had to cancel our Cape Cod month in August. We want cooler weather and fewer people. Any suggestions?
I would say Maine.
Maine. Yeah, I would think Maine. Quebec. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't been. I don't know about crossing the border.
You can cross the border right now.
Yeah.
I would say Maine, New Hampshire,
Bahama.
Vermont. Those are all nice places to go, and the weather's pretty pleasant.
But the weather in Bahama is nice.
It's perfect in August. We've been in August before.
Kennebunkport.
Yeah, Kennebunkport is nice, and
you like lobster?
Yeah, Mount Desert Island is just beautiful, and so yeah, I would say Maine.
Yep. Thank you, Dennis, for the super chat.
Yes, thank you.
Sometimes
when they're going by so fast, we can't see everything right when they come through.
Karen says, well, how is Maine this time of year?
Pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty nice. I mean, I haven't looked at
we
the
have
weather
some friends
today,
over there right now. In fact, they have a traditional blog. They don't do videos or anything, but just a traditional blog. It's called RV A Go-Go, and they spend almost every summer in Maine, and they have a lot of great tips for visiting Maine. They're there right now.
Yep. Kelly says Gemini use hand signals.
Yeah.
Clark says A++.
Great work.
Thank you, Clark.
Makes me think of one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Christmas Story.
That's what I was thinking of
A++++.
Let's see. Wall Street Warrior says, longtime follower, first time watching the live chat. Love your stuff.
Well, thank you.
You guys have helped me a lot. Thank you.
That's so nice.
I want to thank you guys
because
I don't think we say it often enough. We've obviously put a lot of time and energy into creating this video catalog. And a lot of these videos have been planned to be evergreen. So you could go in and look at a video 5 years later and hopefully it would help you. But we get a lot back from you guys too. It's definitely a two-way street. And so we really thank you for being out there. Because it wouldn't be any fun making videos if nobody was watching them. And if we didn't have, I think we really have a great community. I think people who are into RV travel tend to be, I guess, kindred spirits. They tend to be pretty cool people. And that's one reason
We've met a lot of you guys in person over the years. And that's always fun for us to put faces with names and hear what your favorite episode is, or, just getting a chance to meet you in person is always fun. So if you ever see us somewhere, please say hello.
You have a lot of choice these days for your internet RV content. Thanks for choosing Long, Long Honeymoon. Oh, I feel like a McDonald's commercial. Mark 5 says
Yeah.
it was March 22nd, 2010, the scoop. You know, something funny I remember about making the scoop video. I did the stop motion animation during the Super Bowl. Like, so the Super Bowl was on, and I just had the little Hot Wheels cars out on the dining room table. And I don't think I even watched the second half of the game because I was working on the scoop video, which I guess debuted in March. Back then, I took my time making videos.
Yeah. Well, you know, when we first started doing this, we didn't really have an audience, and it wasn't a job at that point. And so
Right.
we didn't have a schedule of doing a video every week or whatever. So Sean would take his time, and sometimes we'd do a video once a month or sometimes every other month.
The artsy years.
Yeah. So he did some really great videos. And sometimes we get questions like, why don't you make videos like that anymore? Those kind of videos take a lot of time to produce. And sometimes we just don't have the time for him to sit down and tell a story like that.
If you look at TV shows, a lot of times they will film months and months. In fact, usually these travel shows, you know, they might film in September for a show that will debut in April or May.
And then you look at the number of people that edited the content. It'll be like 10 people.
I like this.
For us, it's just Sean.
Someone in Utah, they ran into us in a Costco in Sandy, Utah, as we were starting out.
Very cool.
Yep. That's awesome. I
It's
think
always
we
fun to meet people.
have a pretty good following in Utah. That's why I was thinking maybe we'll do a meetup in Salt Lake City.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Marianne says, first time I backed up after watching your scoop video. I got it into the driveway after only a couple of tries.
Oh, great.
So yeah, for those
Love
of you
to
who
hear
are
that.
new to travel trailers or to backing up, definitely check out the scoop. A classic.
Somebody talked about your bidet
Yeah.
review.
There have been a few occasions in my life when I have been ahead of the times. When for some reason I was prescient, thinking ahead of the curve. And one of those occasions,
coming, apparently, I don't know.
It was the bidet review, because I did review a portable bidet last autumn. And I remember thinking at the time, people are going to think this is so bizarre.
Right.
But, you know, it's a logical, reasonable purchase. I mean, a bidet. But then the great toilet paper shortage of 2020 hit. And suddenly there was a run on bidets. Suddenly, like now you go to Costco, they have
like 10 different models
they have
online.
bidets right at the front
Everywhere.
door. You know, the bidet has gone mainstream.
So Jim said they got one and
Said,
installed one at home.
Loho, saving lives and rear ends. Your rear end has never been happier.
We aim to please.
This chat has really revolved around the toilet, has it not?
Well,
We're
looking
keeping
to
it
purchase
clean,
a nice
though.
hat.
Nice hat. Aaron Tilly hat.
Yeah. Has a lifetime warranty. Sean actually got one replaced after a camel squashed his in Morocco.
It's true. Yeah, we have these pictures of us. We were riding camels in Morocco and
The Sahara Desert.
like some of my pictures, there's this bend in the middle of the brim because it got
It got squished by the camel. I mean, it's a nice
So I
camel.
can't look at those photos without just looking at the
Because
hat.
it's got
and
like
thinking,
a point
that
right
just doesn't
here.
look right.
We tried everything to like flatten it back out, but it was too far gone.
PJ
So-
says, you two are the best. Watched almost all your videos. Planning on a first time purchase.
Oh, great.
I think you're smart, PJ, to be doing some homework
Yeah.
beforehand.
Don't be like us. We just jumped in not knowing anything.
We did some homework, but
We did some, but I mean, of course, YouTube wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were some books and some, I guess, some like blogs.
back then
but-
YouTube was kind of dance videos.
Yeah. Well, and the
People-
videos could only be 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
So,
So now you have so many resources at your disposal. You're wise to be jumping in and learning. Let's see. David says, do you guys post on where you plan on going? If not, we understand why. You know, we typically do not.
we don't.
Mainly
because we don't know where we're going.
that's true. Sometimes we don't know where we're going. And I have to say, you know, once or twice we've like done an Instagram post about where we are. And then, you know, people have come to see us, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's been surprising sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all good and cool. Like everybody that we have met has always been great.
Yes.
So like,
if you ever come to our RV and you knock on the door and our car is there, if we don't come to the door, there's a couple of reasons why. Maybe one, we're asleep.
if the Airstream's rocking, don't bother knocking. No.
Airstream could be rocking in that case. Sorry. Or like one of us is in the shower and it's sort of awkward to like open the door with somebody in the shower because our RV is so small. It's hard to hide the bathroom from the door. So don't take it personally. It's just sometimes it might be a bad moment.
Right.
And you don't want to see us in our underwear. I don't blame you. So,
Well,
I mean, I'm talking for me personally. So
everybody we've ever met has been great. But
Yes.
we usually post things after we've departed an area, you know, for obvious reasons, I guess. Let's see. There's a weather report from Maine.
Oh, wow.
William
72.
says it's 72
Perfect.
degrees. Sounds kind of perfect.
Perfect. Oh, Diane says she's working in Yellowstone.
Charles says, Kristy, did you get attached to Sean's humor right away? I think she just sort of tolerates it and has always tolerated it.
That's not true.
Just kind of like, she's a tough crowd. It's tough to make her laugh, to be honest.
It is not tough to make me laugh, but sometimes he'll try to be funny when I'm like in the middle of doing something serious and I'll be like, I need a real answer. Can you stop making a joke? Like I need to know X, Y, or Z. You know, so that's probably the only time I don't laugh. I think.
She's a tough crowd, I'm telling you.
You got to be funny. I mean, not just going to throw you a bone, you know. You're funny though.
Well, I'll try. But I don't know. Being
he did a birthday post for me last year.
mhm.
Was it my birthday last year? You did that post, and I read it while we were at the restaurant eating for my birthday, and I laughed so hard that I couldn't breathe, and I was like crying, and people in the restaurant were looking at us like, "What is wrong?" And I was just hysterically laughing for like 20 minutes. No kidding. So I do laugh at your jokes.
Well, how about some toilet humor? Nope.
No.
But we do have a bidet question from Rick. Says, when using the bidet, how do things get dry? Honest question. It's definitely a valid question. I would say some of these fancier bidet seats, and I'm talking about the high-end Toto seats.
Usually the ones that are in residential.
Will have a built-in fan that will dry your fanny.
Yep.
Now, if you are using one of these portable travel bidets, then it's up to you to get dry. I'm sorry to report, but you know, there are different ways. You may still end up using some
couple of squares of toilet paper.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
But
the way it goes.
in theory, you should be clean. You just might not be dry.
Had several people comment on my cup because it has a Texas flag on it. This was a gift from a friend of mine from college who lives in Texas. So I always think of Jenny when I drink out of this.
And speaking of stickers, I was going to show you guys something and ask your questions. Like, we have a couple of different sticker designs. You know, one is the Loloho Nation sticker.
Yeah.
And the other would just be our logo, like a long, long honeymoon logo. This is kind of a prototype.
Yeah, we would make it a little bigger, I think, than that.
I'm curious which you would
What
like
do you prefer?
better, or
We
both.
sort of, the reason why we went with Loloho is because we felt like when it was on your vehicle or your RV, it's easier to see from further away.
And it's sort of an inside joke.
You gotta know. Gotta be.
And then there's just the long, long honeymoon logo. But I'm just kind of curious what you guys think.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Cindy says our little dog beats us to the door when she sees us with a suitcase. She's always ready to go on a trip.
That's so sweet. Baby girl does not share your dog's feelings. She does not. She sort of tolerates the RV. Not a huge fan.
Andrew asked, what's the safest way to travel with fuel for your generator? That's a good question. I've done a video about generator safety. One thing I would point out is there's a lot of heat that comes off these generators, off of the exhaust, and you don't want to have your spare fuel anywhere downstream from that heat.
Right.
The other thing, you know, we don't travel with much spare fuel, so I wouldn't carry around a big 20 gallons. Gasoline is pretty dangerous, really. You know, so I think a gallon or two is what I would recommend. And we usually, you want to keep it out of the actual vehicle.
Right. Ours is usually, when we do travel with it, in the bed of our truck.
Yeah.
Lots of people are saying the Loloho sticker. People are voting
Loloho sticker
for the green Loloho.
Cool. I appreciate you guys chiming in because that helps us.
Somebody says honeymoon one is good, but both are good.
It's kind of
so
hard
we might
to
have both available.
Yeah.
You know, but this one is a little harder to see from far away. And some people may not, you know, if you're not married or you don't want to
Steve and Lisa
have honeymoon on your
have a difference
trailer.
of opinion.
Ah.
Steve likes Loloho.
So you're going to put both stickers on?
Lisa likes the other.
We love it. That's great news.
Makes for a great tattoo also.
Currently the Loloho sticker is sent to patrons.
Yeah, but we're
when
gonna
they sign up on Patreon, but we're gonna make it more.
We're gonna have them
readily
through
available.
Teespring, and we will do a post on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and the Twitters.
Yeah, and we can make an announcement on YouTube as well, so you'll get a notification when it is available.
Very cool.
For purchase. He says yes, a
Dwayne
larger
says a
blue
blue
one. Oh, a larger one of this, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of a tiny long honeymoon logo.
It's really, it's dainty. Very cute.
Let's see.
People
Randall
like
says
that.
we pull a fifth wheel, we lose a lot of storage space with the loss of the truck bed.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You've got a lot more space overall.
And you have
space in your
underneath
RV.
storage under your fifth wheel. See, that's the thing about an Airstream. You have no underneath storage. We basically have this one little drawer that pulls out behind the camper, which is where we store the Stinky Slinky.
Back to the sewer hose again. This conversation keeps
been a
on going back
topic.
there.
I'm sorry. It's just people love to talk about it.
Like
But
Jim
yeah,
said, this conversation is going to the drain.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sorry. So yeah, I think you probably have the same amount of storage that we do. It's just under your fifth wheel or in that little compartment under your fifth wheel, whereas ours is in the bed of our truck.
You know, on the storage issue, I'm going to try something this year. I'm trying to go light, almost like to treat an extended RV trip like you would if you were going around the world or something. Like when you, in other words,
like a backpacking trip, which we've done before with just a backpack each.
It's kind of a natural instinct to want to load up your RV with everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
But you might actually have a better time if you streamline.
Something that would be interesting to do is at the end of a long trip, before you unload your RV, go through and make a list of things that you did not use or you only used once. And then you'll know not to pack that next time, right? I mean, it's easier said than done. I think for me in the RV, clothes and shoes are sort of my weakness because we go to so many vastly different, temperature environments where we're in 85 degrees and sunny one week, and then 2 weeks later it's snowing and, overcast and raining. So we sort of have to pack for winter and summer. So that can be tough.
Michael makes a good point that our National Forest sign would make a good sticker.
Yeah.
We might do that.
That would be fun.
Yep.
We're going to let you know when you can buy the Loloho sticker on Teespring. You can buy Long Long Honeymoon t-shirts on Teespring. Unfortunately, our shirts are not available on Amazon anymore. There's an issue, I think, with the company that supplies the shirts to Amazon.
They should be available, but I don't know.
So you can definitely order them from Teespring. They've got them. We have some friends that ordered some last week.
Yeah. They're nice quality t-shirts too.
So when the sticker is available there, we'll announce that. So
James says remarks on pull-through campsite KOA. We've stayed at a bunch of different KOAs and some are better than others. I mean, they're all a pretty good standard of quality, but I can think of some in Montana that are kind of in a thickly wooded area.
Right.
Which were different than some others we stayed at that were near train tracks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like just because it's KOA, you really have to, it doesn't guarantee the experience you're going to have. I mean, you got to look at
Right. Usually the only time we stay at a pull-through site is if we're only staying for like one night and we don't want to have to unhitch.
Pull-through sites are nice.
Yeah.
I like them. I mean,
yeah, they're easy.
Yeah.
Quick.
I love the ease of setup. I mean, I would say for a lot of people, it's worth paying a little more to have a pull-through site.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind backing up our trailer, but what I really like about the pull-through sites is sometimes we want to keep our rig together and don't want to unhitch and all that. Like some back-end sites, you're forced to unhitch.
Right.
And like sometimes we're just stopping for one night. I don't want to unhitch and have to rehitch the next day.
Carrie Canavan is asking a question. I hope I said your name right. About shoes, where to tuck them all away. We have these shoe bags in our Amazon store that we bought, 5 or 6 years ago. And those have made storing shoes so much easier because your shoes are together. They're zipped in a bag, so they're not going to get like beat up or scuffed up or whatever. And you can buy color-coded ones. So like your husband's could be one color, you could have another color, whatever. And then you can just sort of have them in the bottom of your closet if you want. Or I have like a little side cabinet on my side of the bed, and I sort of just stack them all up in there together. And I would never do that if my shoes were loose because I wouldn't want them to get all messed up. So look for those shoe bags in our Amazon store. They've made it a lot easier to pack different shoes, not worry about them.
Yeah, we have done a video about packing and organizing an RV, and I found I like using the shoe bags, and also I have these packing cubes that sometimes I will put certain items of clothing in. And because in an Airstream, you're really restricted in terms of your storage space and where you can pack. I found those cubes kind of help.
It's really helpful. Like if you'll have one bag for your underwear and one bag for socks, and so you sort of know where to grab those things.
I was going to say to Mach 5, happy anniversary, Rich, East Maine.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Robert, for the super sticker.
Gullickson, is that how you say it?
Robert Gullickson.
We missed your. Oh wait.
Sorry, we're filing through comments.
Yeah, we're trying to find you, Robert.
Well,
848 down.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll get there.
Yep, we're getting there.
Scott asked when we're going back to Alaska. I would love to go back to Alaska.
There he is.
There's Robert. I want to give Robert some time in the spotlight.
Appreciate it.
Shout out to Robert. Much appreciated.
Oh.
Haley says, love your live streams. Thank you for doing it. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We've been going a long time. Wow.
We have. Whew. We probably should wrap up pretty soon.
Hopefully we're not boring you to tears.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun, I think, to connect with you in this way. It's
fun to get like immediate feedback from you guys and like really feel like we're sort of having a little bit of a conversation. And if you've left a comment and we haven't gotten to you, I apologize. It's just hard for us. They scroll through so fast. And so we're sort of like having to stop and read and, do all that while we're chatting as well. So don't give up. We'll see you eventually.
Yeah. So. Ironically, I find these chats much less stressful than editing and uploading videos because whenever we upload a video to our channel, I'm always maybe a little nervous about it. And it seems like as the channel has grown, you just get more.
You get more negative.
Honestly, you do get more negative feedback. There are more trolls. There's just more. There's more of everything, I guess. Yeah. And that's, it's a trade-off.
You sort of have to mentally prepare for it. I mean, because and it's just human nature. You can have 100 nice, great comments, and then you have somebody that says something really mean or calls you stupid or you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. And we never,
which in my case is often true.
No,
Let's be
we never
honest.
claim to be experts. We just share our personal experience with you guys. But yeah, sometimes that can really get you down. Like it can affect your day and affect your mood. And so you sort of have to like take a deep breath and,
But here in these live chats, strangely, I find them very, very almost relaxing and enjoyable.
Yeah, and kind of uplifting. It's fun to chat with you guys. And
yeah, I always feel energized after doing these live chats.
Yeah.
So maybe we will do more. If you like them, we'll do more.
Let us know if you like it.
See, Mike says he wants a Loloho sticker on his trailer. Thank you very much. Question, how do you pick a campground and the site you want to stay at? I can think of one resource that we use, the RV Park Reviews.
Yeah.
We've used that a lot over the years of like if we're going, because you can sort of search by the town or the area you're going, and you search for the town and then it may spit back a half dozen different campgrounds, and you'll read real reviews from real people that are
and
quite
a lot
helpful.
of times I do look for Good Sam parks a lot, because those tend to be privately owned campgrounds, and a lot of times they're sort of like more of that mom and pop feel to them, which we like. Not saying we don't like the bigger parks too, but we do sort of like those mom and pop parks. Campendium is another place where we read reviews of campgrounds. People will give you the positives and the negatives. Sometimes it's just picking a campground that's close to where we want to be, that has availability. Sometimes we aren't too picky. As far as picking a campsite, if we have a choice, we usually try to back up where there's woods behind us. Other than that, we try to stay far away from the swimming pool or playgrounds or that sort of thing, just because there's more foot traffic and noise. But really, we're not too picky, I don't think. Do you think we're picky?
No, I'm not too picky. The great thing about RV travel is if you don't like where you're staying, you can just
move,
roll on down the highway to the next place. I've gotten a lot of nice comments here.
Oh, thanks, Jeb.
Daniel asked if there might be a Loloho coffee table book someday.
Sean is the photographer, not me. So
Kristy's a
his
talented photographer as well.
Well, I'm more like a point and shoot, and hey, it might turn out great and it may be really terrible. Actually, Sean takes great photos.
Kristy put together a book for me for my birthday last year. It was one of the nicest, probably is the nicest gift ever been given to me.
Well, that's sweet.
And it had a lot of photography and a lot of cool stuff in it. So, all right, guys, I think we're probably going to wrap up. We really appreciate everyone for turning out tonight on this Sunday evening. We appreciate all of the love.
Thank you,
and
Rebecca.
Positive energy we've received from you.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking to you guys for almost 2 hours now, and
I feel like we just got started.
I know, like it's gone by very quickly.
It's never enough time.
And it's been very enjoyable. I appreciate all the positive comments more than you know.
Yes.
I mean, there have been times I post a video on Sunday and I just cringe because like I said, as the channel grows and you're reaching more people, there are going to be more trolls and people who, but so it really helps to interact with you guys in this way.
Yeah. And thanks again to Jim Pratt for being our little moderator and kicking out any meanies or
I haven't seen any trolls tonight.
So maybe there haven't been any.
Maybe either there haven't been any or Jim has just been on the ball as usual.
I think Jim's just taking care of them.
Tim says he's learned a lot. Cindy said she had a great time.
Yay. Thanks for watching with us.
Thank you guys.
Hanging out with us.
Thanks for watching. As always. We appreciate you tuning in. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, blah, 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 blah.
If you don't follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Long Long Honeymoon. Follow us on Facebook. Once we get back on the road hopefully in the next week or so, we'll post a lot more frequently to Instagram and Facebook and the stories. Just sort of like day to day, here's the gas station we stopped at, which may not be very exciting, but there might be some other things that are fun that we share with you.
If you do Instagram, it's pretty fun to follow us over there because I think, especially in the stories, you see some behind the scenes.
You see some sort of behind the scenes, funny things that we wouldn't normally show. Oh, Matt Christopher's here.
Yeah, I was going to give a shout out to Matt.
I think Matt's our oldest, longest subscriber. I'll say longest subscriber, not oldest.
He's the oldest subscriber out there.
No, but he's been around since the beginning, I think.
Yeah,
2007.
To my knowledge, I think Matt is probably our first subscriber.
Yeah.
I think he's the first one that I can recall. Like, hey, Kristy, there's this guy, and he's watching our videos.
And he's leaving comments.
And you have to understand,
more
this
than
was
one.
Sort of before you even had channels and
nobody even knew what a YouTube channel was. The only way people saw YouTube is if they were on another website and they clicked in to watch a video and it was hosted on YouTube. So for somebody to come in and, watch our channel and subscribe to our channel was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So we will always remember Matt for that.
So thank you for subscribing, Matt. Thanks for starting the trend. We appreciate it.
One of these days we will meet up
you in
person. Hasn't happened yet just because we haven't been in your area in a while. So
yeah.
But all right.
Thank you guys so much.
Very cool.
Oh, thanks, Jim. You were so sweet. We appreciate that so much.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jim. All right, guys. We're going to sign off.
Good night.
Until next time. What do we say here? We say
Lo-lo-ho. What do we say? We say
Lo-lo-ho. Bye-bye, baby girl.
Baby girl's